Frankly, it's tiring to look out at combat formations, or really any formation, and see fat troops. Likewise, it's completely unacceptable to see fat generals and admirals in the halls of the Pentagon and leading commands around the country and the world. It's a bad look.
Is the United States government, especially the military, becoming fat-phobic? I feel like I am very qualified to answer this because I've been a military spouse for 31 years and I've worked out in military gyms all over the country and I've personally trained in military gyms. So I feel like I can have some nuanced answers and I'm uniquely qualified. So grab a protein shake, get on the treadmill, and let's get busy. But first, I want you to hear exactly what Pete Hegseth said, straight from the horse's mouth, uninterrupted. So go ahead and listen to that. This is only the part where he talks about fitness and obesity in the military. The rest of his speech, I'm not going to talk about. This isn't going to be a partisan thing. This isn't going to be about politics. So just listen to what he says about obesity, and then we'll get into it.
It all starts with physical fitness and appearance. If the Secretary of War can do regular, hard PT, so can every member of our joint force. Frankly, it's tiring to look out at combat formations, or really any formation, and see fat troops. Likewise, it's completely unacceptable to see fat generals and admirals in the halls of the Pentagon and leading commands around the country and the world. It's a bad look. It is bad, and it's not who we are. So whether you're an airborne ranger or a chairborne ranger, a brand new private or a 4-star general, you need to meet the height and weight standards and pass your PT test. And as the chairman said, yes, there is no PT test. But today, at my direction, every member of the joint force at every rank is required to take a PT test twice a year, as well as meet height and weight requirements twice a year, every year of service. Also today, at my direction, every warrior across our joint force is required to do PT every duty day. Should be common sense. I mean, most units do that already, but we're codifying it. And we're not talking like hot yoga and stretching. Real hard PT, either as a unit or as an individual. At every level, from the Joint Chiefs to everyone in this room to the youngest private, leaders set the standard.
Okay, so let's talk about the things that I feel are good, bad, and really downright stupid or fat-phobic. I hate to use that term, but in some ways there is that. So what do I like about what he said first? Let's talk about what the good stuff is first. He's correct that there's been a massive deterioration in fitness. I've seen it in my 31 years working out and being around military folk. I'm 61 and I go to the military gyms at least once a week, sometimes more. And I'm here to tell you that I am fitter and able to run circles around some of the people that are 1/3 of my age. I would say 50% of them or more are overweight or obese. Some of them are just very unfit. They're thin, but they're very unfit. And I would say maybe 1 out of 10 to 15 is actually someone who's fit. That's what I think. Let's look at this chart. I'm going to show you the obesity rates that have skyrocketed in the military since the 1970s. Not only just in the military, of course, in general, right? I just did a video about the Honey Beez dance team from Alabama State, so you can take a look at that. I'll link that up. They're young people too in the same demographic. So look in the 1970s, 10% were obese, overweight, or obese, and in 2025, it's 60%. So 60% of our armed forces across all ranks are overweight or obese. To me, that's a national hazard. I think he's also correct when he says that it all starts with leadership. If young people see that their commanders, their officers, are very overweight, not fit, and not able to lead in a way that they can look up to, I think that does affect them. So I think it does start with leadership. I've seen senior officers go from usually very trim and very fit you know, downgrading to. So it does start with leadership. I agree with that. And yes, all troops should be exercising nearly every day. I don't know about every single duty day, but that's just healthy, right? Whether you're a general or a major or the lowliest, first E1 or whatever, yes, you should be exercising every day. Everybody should be exercising most days of the week. So that, yes, I agree with that. Now, here's something he didn't say, but I want to add on to this because I am on military insurance. My husband is retired, so I have military insurance, and you pay for that. You taxpayers pay for that. You pay for me, my husband, you pay for all the troops. So the fitter they are, the healthier they are, the less you pay. And me too, I'm a taxpayer. So I'm going to add that. He didn't say that, but I'm just telling you, you have a vested interest in making sure that the troops are as fit and healthy as possible. And the last thing that I agree with him is that there isn't enough hard exercise. I've been seeing this for years where I will go into a military gym and there's some very overweight young person just gingerly pedaling around on a bike, scrolling around on the phone. I don't know why they don't have their phones banned in the gym, or they're just sitting on a bench or walking on a treadmill. I remember one girl that I saw was walking at a rate of 1 mile per hour. She was probably in her 20s, scrolling around on her phone. This has to stop. I wish they would ban phones from military gyms, except in maybe an emergency situation. Maybe keep it on you, but not have it, because I see way too much phone scrolling going on in these military gyms, period. So we do need to have harder exercise, and we probably need some kind of oversight. I don't see anyone most of the times overseeing it. Now, they do have PT with units, and I do see somebody trying to get them to exercise, but they also allow them just to go off on their own and barely exercise. So I'm not a fan of that. But where do I think Hegseth went off the rails? The first one is when he talks about, oh, we're not going to be doing yoga and stretching. Number one, I didn't like the way he made that sound like those are easy. I would just love to see him try a very hard yoga class. Not only that, the best athletes in the world, almost all professional sports teams have a yoga instructor. It's that important. Yoga is great for your body and your mind. So I totally disagree with just completely. One day a week or a couple days a week of yoga would be amazing. And stretching. What? The stretching is a pillar. It's a foundation of fitness. I don't know what he's talking about. Everybody should be stretching almost every day. In fact, I just read a study that said those that stretch well, they end up gaining about 20% more muscle mass. That's huge, especially when you're young. And not only that, think if you were in a bad situation, who's going to do better, the person that's flexible or the person who's not? I hate this word, but it almost sounded like toxic masculinity. And I don't like saying those kind of buzzwords, but that's what it came off to me like, oh, that's so feminine or something. Just, I didn't like that. Then he talks about seeing, fat generals and admirals and senior staff roaming around the Pentagon looking fat. Now, most senior, very senior officers in the military are 45 to 60-ish, give or take in there. Just depends, but most of them are definitely always over 45, almost always. And the higher up you go, the older they are. These are extremely valuable people to our national security. These are people that have been in the military 30, 40 years. And I can't imagine making them meet some strict weight requirement twice a year, or what, they're going to get kicked out. What? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. I can see you want them generally fit, but I can't see being 10 pounds, even 20 pounds overweight, well, you're out of here, or making them feel bad about that. Like, that doesn't jive with me. I'm not saying you should have generals and admirals that are 100 pounds overweight or even 80 pounds overweight, but I just think that when someone's been in that position for that long, they can get a little leeway, especially the closer they are to 60, right? The other thing that he doesn't seem to understand, he's putting so much emphasis on exercise and fitness. I'm a personal trainer. It's super important, right? I'm not saying that it's not, but I can tell you that you can't outrun a bad diet. And he didn't say anything about the culture of junk food in the military. You can go into these shopettes. They have shopettes and BXs and commissaries. But on the little Coast Guard base that I will work out at sometimes, they just have like a little shopette they can go to. It's full of junk food. That's all that's in there is junk food, except maybe, a gallon of milk. I should make a video and show you, but I promise you it's just rows and rows of ultra processed junk food. There's vending machines all over the bases full of soda. Every single base has tons of fast food on it. Burger Kings, Subways, Charlie's, ice cream places, and all of them have liquor stores. They all have liquor stores. And the chow halls, they might have a salad bar, but they have all, the junk food that you can think of. I have no idea if he really is serious about getting the troops fit. They totally need to revamp what they're selling on base and what they're promoting, because it's truly disgusting. The other thing that struck me about his speech is it seems like he's not realized that we're not in the 1820s. We're not in the 1920s. We're in 2025. And we don't do hand-to-hand combat very rarely anymore. Of course, the special forces, and they're all on their own, and they have their own fitness standards. The special forces might do hand-to-hand combat, but we do very little hand-to-hand combat. We do a lot of cyber war, a lot of things online. And a lot of those people, those very smart people that we need, they're not always jocks, right? They're not always the fittest. I'm not saying that they shouldn't exercise. I'm not saying that they should be obese. I don't know how they work that out. I'm worried that this speech might really send super smart people. I'm not one of them. So I don't know how they think that these very super smart people that we need in our military, if it sends them scurrying the other way, because this just came off not good. You know what I mean? And I totally love fitness, and I think all the troops should be fit, but it just didn't come off that well, even though I think I know what he meant, and I agree with him in totality. I mostly agree with him that it's really gotten bad. It's embarrassing. I cringe almost every time I go into a military gym because I know what I'm going to see. I'm going to see very few fit people. So I get what he's getting at, but I just worry about him, driving off a good part of the population that we need. So that's all I have today. You need to tell me what you think about it if you saw it. I'm curious about what you think. And I will see you next time.